Ms. Stark, are you able to actually see the document on the device that you're using?
Ms. Stark, can you hear them?
I can hear you. I can't hear what anybody else is saying because there's such an echo that I can't hear and understand what anybody is saying.
Okay, I've moved my phone close to the computer.
Ms. Stark, are you able to see?
Can you see on your screen a document they're displaying?
I see half of a document. It looks like I see it is from, sent to, CC, and subject on UFEM letterhead.
Okay, that's all I see.
Yeah, no, Ms. Stark, I just wanted to know if you had the capability of seeing the document on your screen. I will.
Yes, I do.
Thank you. So I am going to go to the second page of this exhibit. It's an email from Victoria White to Justin Pulliam, dated October 3rd, 2018. Are you able to see this page of the exhibit?
Yes.
And are you able to hear him?
A little bit.
Okay, well, you let us know in the situation again. The things that have happened when people are in the same room on these things, we almost always get echoes with those. So in the future, I would ask that your firm. That's one of the things that tends to be problems on these calls. Or these on the WebEx. So go ahead with the next question and let us know if you have trouble hearing.
Now I'm going to read you the sentence that starts, I wasn't going to mention it until a little later, but I am pregnant right now and I am a high-risk pregnancy. Did I read that correctly?
We'll stipulate that's what the document says.
I mean, the document says what it does. She wasn't one of the people that it was sent to, so why is she being asked about this?
It's laying a foundation for the next question.
Okay, go to the next question.
Sorry, I wasn't able to hear her answer, but Ms. Stark, were you aware whether or not Ms. White had previously told Justin about her pregnancy prior to this email?
Not aware of the time frame of when she talked to Justin, no.
Had you disclosed to Justin that Ms. White was pregnant prior to October 3rd, 2018?
I have no clue what date that I had any conversations with upper management.
And you had mentioned that Ms. White had a personal conversation with you regarding her rheumatoid arthritis. Is that correct?
Correct.
And did you tell any member of New Male or New Femme management about her rheumatoid arthritis prior to October 3rd, 2018?
No, it was not my place.
Would you state that over again, please?
No, I did not. It was not my place to mention anything.
Was the first time that you had any discussions with New Femme management regarding Ms. White's rheumatoid arthritis in connection with her pregnancy and rheumatoid arthritis requests for accommodations?
I believe so, yes.
I'm now going to show you what's been entered as Respondent's Exhibit number 17. and it's a document titled Employee ADA Medical Certification Form. Is this the type of form that New Medical was requesting that Ms. White complete in connection with her request for an accommodation?
Yes.
And were you involved in reviewing this form?
Yes.
And were there issues with this form that you required Ms. White have her medical provider correct?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Did you ever follow up with Ms. White to have her medical provider make a correction to this form?
I don't recall asking for a correction to the form.
Show you what's been marked as Respondents Exhibit 18. I'll show you a page that has the bottom the label New FEM 000841. Is this a letter that you prepared and sent to Victoria White?
I believe this was prepared by one of the attorneys, and then I signed the form.
And can I direct your attention to the second paragraph where it states, your treating physician, however, did not indicate how long you may need these accommodations. Do you recall asking Ms. White to have her treating physician provide an update as to how long her medical restrictions would last?
I would assume I did. I don't recall, but I would assume I did. Because if you
Going back to
look to the
Respondents
third paragraph,
Would you state that again, ma'am?
if you look to the third paragraph, it looks like I am asking for the physician to review the job description and indicate in writing how long she may need these accommodations.
And do you agree that the initial medical certification form provided by Ms. White's physician didn't include an anticipated duration of her restrictions related to her work limitations and working an extra day during the week?
What is the question?
Would you agree that the initial medical certification form provided by Ms. White didn't include the anticipated duration of her work limitations?
Every other word that you say is cutting out.
Okay, try to say it again. And counsel, would you state that again, please?
Would you agree that the initial medical certification form provided by Ms. White's physician didn't include an anticipated duration of her work limitations?
Document speaks for itself.
Hold it a second. Counsel, is there any need to, I mean, these documents have been admitted so that they show what they show. Is there any reason that her testimony would add anything to what it says or doesn't say?
No, Your Honor, we can move on.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, you had testified before that you believed that.
Hold it a second. Ms. Stark, you still there?
Here,
Okay, good. Try it again.
You testified before that it was your belief that Mr. Pulliam had, attempted to change Ms. White's work schedule in order to pressure her to quit. In relation to that, did you have access to the financial statements of the company at that time?
would I have had access to financial statements of the company?
Correct.
Is that your question? No. I didn't have access to the accounting system.
Did you know what the net or gross sales of the company were at the time Mr. Pulliam was attempting to change Ms. White's schedule?
No.
And did you have access to the net earnings of the company at any time during your employment with New Medical?
Yes.
I don't believe that I ever had access to any of that information. If I needed any information, I had to request it.
And are you aware of any requests for medical accommodations made by Ms. White during her employment at New Medical that were not approved?
No, I'm not.
And you testified to an employment agreement that was signed by Ms. White. You recall that?
I'm sorry, what was your question?
You had testified about an employment agreement that had been signed by Ms. White. In connection with your employment as HR manager, did you have access to, claimant's personnel records?
Yes, I did.
I'm going to show you Respondents Exhibit 3 and scroll through it. And the question I'm going to ask you after you have a chance to look at it is whether or not this is the employment agreement that you were referencing on your direct testimony.
So you're asking me if that is the employment agreement that was on record?
Yes.
We've already stipulated this is the employment agreement on record. Why are we asking the witness about this?
My first question was, is this the one that you were, is this the employment agreement you were referencing in your testimony?
It's dated January 11th, 2018, prior to my employment at New Mail. I would assume that that is the employment record that was on file.
We've stipulated to this.
Okay, go on to the next question.
We have no further questions.
Okay, any redirect, Mr. Olson?
Yes, two questions. Number one, was management dictating to you what you were to communicate to Ms. White in connection with her request for accommodations?
Yes.
And in response to the request by the company regarding medical information or any information they asked in connection with the accommodation, did Ms. White provide all requested information?
Yes.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Nothing further.
Okay, then thank you very much for your cooperation, ma'am. I thank you for stopping and whatever dealing with in the matter. And I'm glad that nothing happened because of your other than delays in your day. Anyway, thank you, and you're excused. Go on to they can. So go on. So my understanding. My understanding on this is that the next witness is Ms. White. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I'll go off the. Okay, Ms. White, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, all truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. I still used to saying please be seated, but I'm working on getting over that. So, okay, go ahead.
Ms. White, what is your highest level of education?
I'm a family nurse practitioner. I have my master's degree in nursing.
When did you earn that?
I graduated in 2015 and I took my final boards in February of 2016.
And where did you work after that?
I first started as a new nurse practitioner at Clinical Pain Consultants, and I worked there until December of 2018. And then I started with New Femme in January of 2019.
And we have in the record an offer of employment letter and an employment contract. Did you discuss with New Femme before you started the number of days per week that you wanted to work?
Yes, I discussed with them working 4 days a week.
Okay, and working 4 days per week, were you entitled to benefits?
Yes, it was, the hours were 8 to 4, and that was including benefits. If I
Okay.
worked 32 hours.
Okay. And with respect to, so the documents speak for themselves. You were provided with a letter and with a contract, is that correct?
Correct.
And the contract provided for a year with renewable 1-year terms?
Yes.
And when did you learn that you were pregnant?
I learned that I was pregnant around October, the fall of 2019. Or I'm sorry, of 2018.
All right, and we have the testimony of your doctor regarding your rheumatoid arthritis. When were you first diagnosed with that condition?
I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis about 10 years ago now.
All right, and the doctor identified that as a chronic inflammatory disorder. With your condition in particular, how does that affect you in terms of your functioning?
So your immune system in your body, when you have RA, it causes inflammation, which leads to swelling and pain in your joints. And that is the most classic symptom that I have with my rheumatoid arthritis is swelling and pain in multiple joints.
And then how does that affect your functioning when you do have that pain?
When I do have a flare, it's very hard for me to do certain regular daily activities of living, such as there are times I can't even hold a pen. There's times it hurts to walk. I can't lift things. It all depends on what joint is being affected, but it highly affects my ability to do many things.
Have you received medical treatment for your RA?
I have for 10 years now.
Okay, and what is the medical treatment?
I'm on a steroid called prednisone to help reduce inflammation. I'm on a immunosuppressant, which is an IV infusion. It decreases those bad cells from attacking my immune system. I have IV infusions once a month, every 30 days. And it's a chemotherapy-based drug.
And that chemo-based drug, what does that control or improve?
It improves the pain and swelling by stopping the bad cells from attacking my good cells.
And is that medication contraindicated for pregnant women?
No, it can cause teratogenic effects, which means bodily harm, birth defects, and even death of a fetus.
Was there ever an interruption of that chemotherapy that you were receiving when you were pregnant?
Yes, I stopped receiving it when I found out I was pregnant.
And as a result of stopping that medication, how did that affect, if at all, your symptoms?
It did make the symptoms worse. That medication is the stronger of the medications that I'm on. However, so that I could still have some function, I continued to take my prednisone, which is the steroid.
And when you went off that medication, did it affect the frequency of the flare-ups?
It did. Stress exacerbates immune symptoms, and being pregnant is already a stressor on your body. So some people, when they're pregnant, they do tend to flare a little bit more if they stop their meds while pregnant.
And with respect to your pregnancy and your rheumatoid arthritis, did you ask the employer for any accommodation?
Once I had my first flare in October, then yes, I did ask to take 2 weeks off to recover.
Okay, and the employer granted that?
Eventually, yes.
And did you provide medical documentation to make that request?
Yes.
And were you ever asked to increase your work hours?
Yes.
And how did you respond to that? Did you agree or disagree?
I disagreed.
And why did you disagree with, were you asked, let me ask this first, were you asked to increase your work week from 4 days per week to 5 days per week?
Yes. And longer hours.
Okay. And did your disagreement have anything to do with your pregnancy or your RA?
It had a little bit to do with the fact that when I first took the job that they agreed to 4 days a week. And then when the company said that I still needed to increase my hours, I told them that with my pregnancy and my RA, it would be too hard on my body to do that.
So how would working 4 days a week at fewer hours than working 5 days a week at greater hours have any impact or effect on your RA or on your symptoms?
My body is very sensitive to stress and overworking, and I have a My personal rheumatoid arthritis and immune system does not do well to overworking, overstress. I do require rest periods to prevent from flaring. And I personally find that working 5 days a week leads more to flares in myself personally than working 4 days a week.
And I know it's in the record, but maybe you can clarify. Were you asking that you have 3 consecutive days off, working 4 and 3 off, or were you willing to have 1 day off in the middle of the week?
I did tell them that I would take either Monday or a Friday, 3 consecutive days if preferred, to allow for more rest.
I'm sorry, I don't understand what the answer to the question was. Did you say that you would take a day in the middle or not?
I think in my email, I told them I would prefer 3 consecutive days for rest.
Okay. And do I understand that you said it didn't matter whether it was a Monday or a Friday, as long as it was 3 in a row?
Correct.
Okay. Had you ever been disciplined during your employment?
No.
Were you invited to become an equity partner in the firm at one point?
Yes.
And what did they do in connection with inviting you to become an equity partner?
They provided me the financials for the company for about 14 months of time.
Okay. And did you become an equity partner?
No.
Why not?
After reviewing the paperwork, my husband and I were not interested in it.
When they invited you to become an equity partner, was there any indication by management as to how well the business was doing?
Oh yeah, they mentioned numerous times that the business was doing wonderful and would only grow more and more and make more and more money.